All right, one more before we call it a night. Let's talk about Saw 6, my favorite film in the Saw series. I love this fucking film. Now, I remember reading an interview with Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton, and they were talking about how disappointed they were with part 5 and how they felt like they needed to make it up to us with Saw 6. And at that time, I was not a big fan of Saw 5 at all. Like, I was really not happy with it. I don't think I had seen it again by the time I read that. So I was like, you guys better, man, because I love 4 and 5 was weak as shit. I've grown to really like 5 now, but at that time I was. And when I went in and I saw 6, when I saw 6, holy shit, did they deliver. They delivered what I consider to be the best film in this series, at least personally for me. I know a lot of people are like, whatever, the first Saw is clearly the best by far. Okay, this is still my favorite. I'm not going to argue bests because, whatever. I only can tell you what my opinion is, and this is my favorite of the series. So let's talk about the movie itself. Now, Tiandra, is that how you say her name? Howard? The black chick in the opening who cuts off her arm to exact the pound of flesh and win the scale game against the dude. That scene is intense. Like, she's screaming, she's looking, and she's just going like crazy. They actually were like scared on set because she was hacking really close to her real arm, and she was so into the scene that they were like yelling cut or whatever because they were just like nervous, like this chick was gonna cut her own arm off, like just in the heat of the moment. But she is the winner of Scream Queens season 1. I watched season 1 and 2, and season 1 was to win a role on Saw 6, and season 2 was to win a role on Saw 7. It wasn't determined what the role was going to be. It could be super small, it could be big, it could be something. But when she went in to read after she won the series, they said they liked her so much that they gave her the opening scene. And she was so well received, and that scene was so well received that they actually put her in a scene in part 7 as well. I don't know if she's done much else, but I thought she was fantastic on Scream Queens. Not the Emma Roberts show, by the way. There was a reality TV show. I've talked about it on my channel a couple times, but because we are on the movie that she's in, I have to bring it up again. She was very good in that show. Like, I knew instantly, like when I saw her, like I recognized her because I had seen Saw 6 by the time I watched it, but like as soon as like I saw what she did in the opening thing of that season, I was like, oh, this chick's like, no wonder she won. Like this, it was so clear she was gonna win from like episode 1. So it was a good season. I liked both seasons a lot. It was just fun to watch. There's some really funny moments, man. I would love to talk about that with someone because there's one scene in particular in season 1 or 2. I can't remember which season, but holy shit, it is so bad, it's hilarious. I'd love to talk to somebody. Anyone watch Scream Queens, the reality TV show? Anyway, as I said, the pound of flesh thing, that whole scene is just gruesome and intense and super messed up. And I like how he's like grabbing, he's like this big fat guy, and he's like grabbing fat, and then she like pulls up her shirt, and she's like looking for, she's just like, I have nothing to give. Like, what am I gonna cut off? I'm so skinny. I just love the look that she gives her body, like the one time anyone is like regretting not having fat on their body, you know what I mean? Like usually we look at our bodies, and if we don't have excess fat, we're all proud of that, but in that moment it's a rare moment where a person's like, why don't I have a big fat belly? I love the look on her face. Now this is the the unrated, I don't say underrated, you know that. This is the unrated director's cut. And while I don't know what all of the differences is, I don't really think there's many. But the one that is on here, I actually make anyone who watches this franchise with me. I've shown it to a couple people over the years. I actually make them cover their eyes during one scene in this and it's only in the director's cut. It's not in the regular version, and it gives away the big reveal, like one of the big reveals at the end, and I don't know why it's in here. It's very annoying. So in the opening of the director's cut, they show Cecil and Amanda together in a car, and she's like freaking out or whatever. That completely gives it away. What, like, oh my God, Amanda knew Cecil? What the fuck? Like, it's so, like, obvious in my mind. So I'm always like, nope, you're not allowed to watch this part. No. Because I think that when I saw the note part, because I had been wondering what was in that note since part 3. And it just kind of kept getting brushed over, and like they'd show it for a second, and I'd be like, what's in that fucking thing? And in the theater version, which I saw, there isn't that opening scene, so thank God. When it finally reveals what's on that note, when we find out that Hoffman says, kill Lynn or I'll tell John that you were there that night and convinced Cecil to go in there, which got his kid killed. You are responsible for Gideon's death, and you know it. If you don't kill Lynn, I'm telling John. And killing Lynn gets her killed. I don't know. The way that played out, her response, like, it might be my favorite reveal in the entire series. It's just, when I was wondering what was on that note, I just kept thinking, like, it better be good. It better be big. It better be, what is it going to be? What is it going to be? That reveal for me was like everything I could have wanted it to be, because it's so messed up. It is so messed up when you think about it. All the different moving parts in that to think about. It is so fucked up. So I just adored that was the answer. So, and we get to see, Hoffman, the body, as I said, Strom is crushed, and it's just like falls from the thing. Oh, his body is mangled. That's what Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie would have looked like if R2 wouldn't have got the trash compactor to shut down. We see so many of these scenes in movies. We see the rooms closing and it's about to crush them. We've seen that in tons of movies over the years. But it never happens. This movie, well, the last movie technically, but this movie we get to see it close, and we get to see the aftermath of what happens when it does. Oh my good God, is his body mangled. But then, Hoffman gets his hands on Strom's hands, or hand, should I say, so he can use it to try to frame him with his fingerprints and whatnot. And I think the reason that I love this movie, there's so many reasons, because I think the twists are incredible, I think the reveals are incredible, I think that the traps are incredible, I think that, but like, not to get too like preachy, political, any kind of stuff, but insurance companies are fucking evil in my opinion. Like, the insurance companies in this country are fucking evil in my opinion. So to see this is about them and him getting back at these people and their policies and their bullshit. I just remember being in the theater and being like, oh fuck, this is where we're going with this. I am so on board with what's about to happen here. And as the film went on and all of the, like poetic justice and stuff that's going on, and oh man, so good. Just so damn good. So let's see. Yeah, they're just the perfect target. And then he calls his spoilers, obviously. I think I already said the spoilers for this and everything in the series. I know I have to say that every time. Sorry, people who are watching all of these, but you never know who's going to watch which. But yeah, he gets on the phone and he's talking to his sister, which we find out later in the movie is his family. But we're going to talk about that at the end. But he calls her Babe. Who calls their sister Babe? Like, I know it's supposed to throw us off to make it think like he's talking to his wife, but Babe? Really? I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I don't think I've ever heard somebody call their sister babe. And then, yeah, we get to see him actually talking to one of the customers who gets rejected, and he tells him that he had oral surgery like 30 years ago to have her cyst removed so he could have blah blah. That scene is just the epitome of why I think this shit is corrupt as fuck and those people are criminals and that whole system is extremely flawed. But as I said, I'm not here to talk about stupid stuff like that. I just, seeing those scenes, I'm like, that shit happens. That shit happens. And these people just fucking, no, okay, not gonna preach. You just want them dead. You want them dead right there in the moment. The dog pit, those people are just garbage human beings. Perez lives, the big reveal. Perez is alive. So many great reveals, so many twists, so many turns. But Perez lives, and Hoffman has like an oh shit moment. Like, oh fuck, I thought I was gonna get away with it, but oops, nope. I was just ranting and raving about how incredible the gore is in the series, and it is. Let me tell you, my hair is terrible. It's falling apart. I hate it. Don't let me look at it anymore. I was just talking about how amazing the practical gore effects and all that are. It's getting late. 2 a.m, Jesus Christ. But yeah, freaking what's her name in this? Tiandra Howard, the girl who cuts off her arm in the beginning. I can't remember. I have it written down somewhere. It's like Simone, right? Simone. Yeah. I remembered. Okay, never mind. When she shows her stump to him and she's like, what the fuck am I supposed to learn from this? It is such bad CGI. That was really, of all the shit you guys have been able to do in this series, you couldn't make it look like she had one arm. Really, CGI guys, come on now. That's pathetic. That is so silly. That is one of the glaring things in this series I hate. And it happens to be in my favorite film. That sucks. It's so quick, it doesn't matter. But every time I see it, it's like, that's such bad CGI. Why? Why? We get to see the box in this that Jill got. And everything's revealed. We get to see everything inside. We get to see all 6 envelopes. We get to see the trap. The bear trap. We get to see all of it, which is so nice because I was just like, you better not make me wait another movie, man. And we get to see Amanda go and convince Jill that this is an effective program, that this is effective rehabilitation. And so that's what brings Jill into it. She's tired of working there. She's given all these drug addicts freaking methadone and all these drugs to try to combat their addiction, and nothing's working, and it cost her baby's life. And she's open to new ideas, I guess. She doesn't agree with them, but she does kind of give in to them. It does change her mind to an extent. One of our first traps here that we see is the take a breath and we'll crush your rib cage. And he goes up against a smoker. And of course, as I said, there's a lot of things in this that are just symbolic. They're just like, you won't insure a smoker because they don't have the same life expectancy as you. Like, let's put you against one and see how easy it is. And then, the 50-50. And then he shows them the difference between somebody with a family, even though they're older and they don't matter as much, versus a young kid who has nobody and nobody gives a shit if he dies. They both should matter. But the point is that, just because someone is older and isn't going to have such a life expectancy does not mean that they're not just as important. But yeah, that rib cage, the guy's fucking like crushes here, and his chest rib cage blows out his front. It completely explodes, which is probably what would happen. That's disgusting. The guy has freaking the bombs on all 4 limbs, and any one of them would kill him instantly if it went off. So he has got to get through this thing as fast as possible. He's told he's never going to get to see his family again, and there's some amazing play on words here, where they're in there with the family, you know, and he's like, "Why are we here?" And she's like, "We're here, you know, because of your father." And you're thinking, of course, like, this is their father the whole time. And when it was revealed at the end here that the chick, because I thought the reporter chick was just there to observe and to, you know, document it the right way, because Jigsaw is talking about her, glorifying or sensationalizing his work and whatnot. Like, he wants her to see it effectively. Like, he wants her to see it the way it's actually done, so that she can report it correctly. So I was just thinking she was just there to watch and observe, and that the family was going to be whatever. And when he came in, it's just like, that wasn't his family. That's the dude's family he killed at the beginning, and they have his life in his hands and all that. Whoa, man, I was floored by that. I was totally blown away by that. Another amazing play on words. My other one is the, you know, what do you want from me? Like, I want a divorce. I thought that was another incredible play on words as well. But this one just knocked it out of the park for me. I had no idea that was his family there. None. I was like, oh, what? Oh, shit. So good. I do like that the trap closes just enough. Whoa. To, I almost just fell over because I have my fucking foot up. The trap closes just enough to, like, make it look like he was cut here. But then we find out that he had a key inserted into him, probably by Dr. Gordon. But yeah, I just thought that was cool because he lifts up his shirt and he's like, oh, look at that. And you just think, yeah, it's just a cut from that thing. Nope, it sure isn't. It just opened up his stitches a little bit. And when you, upon rewatches now, you can clearly see he's stitched, which I don't think I noticed the first time, or if I did, I was just like, what was that? And then my brain was just kind of like, well, back into the movie. What did I just see? I don't know. It's so quick. You just kind of lose sight of it. And yeah, as I said, like, he has to choose between the two people. Like, the young kid, no family, the old lady and he fucking picks the old lady with the family and keeps her. She's in the support group in part 7. So she does find a way out of that room. He does actually save that girl. And then Jesus Christ, I'm gonna yawn again. And then I like that when he does kill the guy, you know, he chooses the woman, that the dude is flung forward and just smashes off the glass. It's like extra emphasis that you, like, killed him. Like, he has to face to face, and it's like so brutal that this guy hits, and it's barbed wire around the neck. So as soon as he's hung, it's not like he has any chance. It's like his neck, his jugular is completely opened. That dude is goner. He is a goner. And we get to see them setting up the rack, and here yet again an actor came back just to play an unconscious body. Incredible. And we get to see Hoffman, Amanda, and Jigsaw all in the same room, all interacting, and we get to see kind of like the brother sister fighting for daddy kind of dynamic between Hoffman and Amanda. And I love the line where Amanda's like, you know, telling him, like, get used to me, I'm going to be around for a while. And he's like, you sure about that? Like, he knows she's dying that night. He knows. So, I don't know, that line for me was super, super great. And Jill, we find out Jill came over and said goodbye to John, basically, right before his death. She came into the warehouse, the Gideon warehouse, where Jeff's game was going on and Detective Matthews' game was going on. So she was there in the building. And then we find out John was denied coverage for his cancer, and that if he was to even go and try to seek this, suicide gene or whatever that he was trying to have this doctor put into him. If he tried any alternative to what they approved, that they would completely drop coverage on him. And then he gives this guy his long speech. I really like flashback scenes between the head of the insurance company and John. I really liked their interactions, like the stuff John was saying to him and the way the guy was reacting back, and just kind of like how slick that guy was. Just how disconnected he was from reality, and how John was just constantly trying to make him realize how full of shit he was. But I guess he's listening now, huh? And then that dude has to help that girl through the steam maze. This is where we find out that he has the key inside of her. And he's like, he tries his damnedest. Like, I have to say, as big of a piece of shit as the guy is in the movie, beforehand, he does really try to save every single person and feels awful about killing any one of them. I will give the guy the credit there. Like the dude, when he goes against him with the breathing thing, he tells the guy to hold his breath. The chick down in the little steam maze, he doesn't have to save her. He doesn't have to take steam to his face and to his back and all that to help her. He does. And when she gets to the end and she finds out he has the key inside of himself, he looks at it, he pulls up his shirt and he looks and he sees it's there. And he's like, all right, like, give me a minute, I can get it out. And she comes out and tries to kill him because it's just not, she's in frantic mode, blah, blah, blah. But he genuinely wants to help. So I think that this game does cure him, for sure, and quickly. Like, he realizes what a piece of shit he is. And it's more of just a flawed system that he's set up, as opposed to like some kind of, morality thing or an ideology that is corrupt. Like the guy clearly has good intentions. He's just been doing terrible things for a long time, and too long, because ultimately he betrayed the wrong family. So throughout his history, he did something horribly wrong, and there was just no coming back from that. As much as the wife wanted to try to help him, the son wasn't having it. And then we move into one of the greatest scenes in this entire franchise, the carousel scene with the freaking dog pit. Oh my God, that scene is just as intense as it gets, man. I couldn't even imagine being tasked with something like that. Like, 2/3 of your claims are rejected because of this and that. So like, here you go. You've given death sentences to 2/3 of people because you're rejecting their claims. Well, now I'm going to make you reject 2/3 of the claims right here in person. Like, this is like, you have to watch this shit up close and personal. It's easy when you're on the phone. It's easy when you're signing papers and you're like, denied, and you don't get to see these people die. But this is the reality of it. These people die because you didn't cover them. Like, at least they had a chance anyways. They had no chance if you don't. And so he has to face this face to face. And he has to be the person, because that's exactly what they do. They just like, well, we'll cover you, but we won't cover you and you. And this is exactly what he has to do. And seeing it up close and personal isn't fun. And he even makes a statement. He's like, it's a business. Like, this is, and it's like, no, human life is not a business. I'm sorry. Yeah, as I said, I'm not going to get too preachy, but to see it up close and personal like that, it makes it a very different game. But yeah, that whole thing, like everyone's turning on each other. They're all exposing each other for this. A chick lies about being pregnant because the first girl says that she has kids, and that's why he saves her. So the girl's like, well, she said she has kids. Well, what if I say I have a kid on the way? And just like anything to stay alive. And then he finally picks the two people, and that dude at the end. I actually almost started crying. Like, I was that upset. Like, it was so intense in that moment on this viewing. And I've seen it a bunch. Like, I was so in that moment when that guy, I don't know what it is about that scene But when that guy is like, well, that's fucking it, isn't it? And it like comes around and he's like, you motherfucker. And then he like stops in front of the gun and he's just like so scared but so angry. And when he yells at him at the end right before he's shot, and he's just like, you look at me. You look at me when you're killing me. That is my favorite line probably in the entire franchise. You look at me when you're killing me. Like, it is so intense. It is so gut-wrenching. It is just, I mean, just to be in that situation, to be put, you know, kind of assigned to this impossible task, to pick one over the other, and just the way he's yelling it, and the emotion, and the acting, and all that is just fucking awful, but awesome. Like, it, I don't know. I love it, and it got me. It got me this time again. Yeah. So then Hoffman is exposed because the tape, the Baxter tape, has been flipped, and they can listen to it because you know, she cleaned up the algorithm, flipped it upside down, whatever the hell. I don't know the fucking forensics. And so yeah, he slits Erickson's throat, and then gets the other chick in front of the bullets, and then frickin' just stabs Perez like 20 times. And then he goes and he grabs gasoline, and he has Strom's hand in his trunk. That seems stupid, to be carrying around evidence like that on you when you know you're like very close to being caught. That seems like a really stupid play on his part, but he brings it anyways. He probably knows that this is gonna happen, so it's like his backup plan. But he goes down there and he has the gasoline and he pours it on Erickson, and Erickson is alive. And when he figures out that he is alive, Hoffman laughs and smiles. Sorry, guys. But yeah, full on like smiles. Like, he gets off on the fact that he's about to burn this dude alive. Hoffman is an evil, evil son of a bitch. And then, yeah, I already said the note, and then the family twist. Holy shit, did that family twist get me? And then the son's like, you killed my father, you motherfucker, and just like flips it. Like, he is just done. He ain't having it. He's a kid. He doesn't understand the consequences and regrets and all of that. I'm not saying I wouldn't do the same. I'm not sure what I would do. But that kid is just like, no way, you are done. And then it goes in, and he's being injected with freaking hydrochloric acid, and his body falls apart. Oh my God, it's so freaking gnarly. And then, yeah, Jill comes in and she shows him that he's the sixth victim, which of course begs the question of why the hell he would put on Jigsaw's final game in the seventh one after he tried to kill him. That really isn't explained, and it doesn't make much sense, but I think it could be argued that maybe he didn't. Maybe he just had the envelopes and he didn't put the game together. I think that makes sense. So, but we'll talk about that in the other one. And yeah, and then he's put in the bear trap, and he breaks his thumb, and he gets out, and the freaking thing opens up inside the little grates or whatever, and then he rips his face away, and his whole mouth is open, and he looks at the camera, and he screams with half of his face falling apart. Such an intense, awesome ending, dude. Holy shit, I love it so much. Such a great ending, such a great movie. Hell yeah. Other Saw 6 fans, please let me know. It is time for bed. I will get to the final chapter tomorrow. Good night.